This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Hindu.
After a shutdown for 6 months, workers come back for a choker. 150 employees taken to the hospitals after a pesticide leak. In a little village in the state, many are still chained to the clutches of bonded labor and flogged their way to work. 40 counters are opening their doors to your tax relief. Filing IT returns for the physically challenged and senior citizens may be easier. At a temple on Arcot Road, many are driven away by the spirits. Is the state hypocritical with its own laws? And the Tuskers of the temple city are in for some refreshing shower time. Good evening, this is News Tonight on NDTV Hindu. I'm Evelyn Matthew. A poisonous gas leaked into a factory's working space, hospitalizing 8 into an emergency ward. What are we waiting for? Does it expose the safety lapse in our own city? We're discussing this in detail tonight on NDTV Hindu, but let's also bring you the national stories making headlines. Hockey India says sexual harassment allegations made by their player are credible. It's now up to the government and the police to act. Amid the political storm around him, Gujarat's Home Minister Amit Shah quits. The CBI is on their guard for an arrest, but he's still missing. Food inflation will abate to 6% by the end of the year, says the Prime Minister at the National Development Council meet. Well, there's fresh concern over safety standards at factories after more than 100 employees of Foxconn were treated at a hospital today. Foxconn's factory just outside Chennai, which makes components for mobile phones, says fumigation led to workers reporting discomforts.
This is one of more than 100 employees at Foxconn who were rushed to Sri Ramachandra Medical Center after they fainted or complained of breathlessness, vomiting and throat irritation. Foxconn management played down the incident, blaming it on fumigation of the plant, but it renewed focus on safety standards.
நேத்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா எல்லாரும் வந்து 120 பேர் சைத்ரி போயிருந்தாங்க. அவங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஃபுல்லா மயக்கம் வாயு கசிவால மயக்கம் ஏற்பட்டு எல்லாரும் blood vomit எடுத்துட்டு இருந்தாங்க. அதுக்கு போயிட்டு ஜெயா ஹாஸ்பிடல்ல இது பண்ணோம். இதுல பாத்தீங்கன்னா மேனேஜ்மென்ட்ல இருந்து எந்த ரெஸ்பான்ஸுமே இல்ல.
The fact is that people, the factory they were working in their area is locked for past 6 months. So we have just gone for expansion and we have opened for some erections work, some maintenance work. In that, in bathroom area, pesticide, we made the pest control system. In that, the pest chemical made some fumes that entered into the dust, AC duct. It enter in all the floor, and the people get swooned.
The workers who were taken ill received emergency treatment. Some were discharged, some remained at the hospital for observation.
Since about 8 o'clock in the morning, we started getting patients from Foxconn. They were brought in by them. Patients with respiratory symptoms, problems, like giddiness, nausea, breathlessness, and they were given immediate emergency treatment. Till about 3-4 o'clock, we got about 175 people. After initial treatment, most of them have been discharged.
Safety is a priority matter in a factory like that of Foxconn, which employs about 700 regular workers and thousands more in non-permanent positions. But are factories like these, which are signs of growth and industrialization, taking people's lives seriously? In Chennai, Zoya Thomas for NDTV Hindu.
Well, there has been an official response from the company Foxconn over the incident. The director, Mr. Anantha Narayanan, has said that Foxconn does not deal with any hazardous or harmful chemicals. The workers who have fallen ill have been given adequate medical treatment. All units of Foxconn will remain closed until Sunday, in fact. And joining us on News Tonight this evening is Ms. Madhumita Datta. She is a member with the Tamil Nadu Anti-SEZ movement, and she joins us for more on this topic of discussion. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. After those cylinders that were lying there at the Mumbai Port Trust for 15 long years, now it's this company here in our very own Chennai. which was not working for 6 months. Does this really shock you? Does it really bring to mind that, you know, industries are really lax about safety when it comes to workers?
I won't say it shocks me, it angers me. And it angers me because it's 26 years and we have not learned a lesson from Bhopal. Bhopal is still live in our memory.
Absolutely.
And why it makes me angry and not so shocked is that almost every day we are hearing such things. I mean, you pick up the papers, you will hear about these gas leaks, you hear about these accidents, and there are hundreds of cases which are unreported. And Foxconn has a track record of, you know, bad safety practices, not just in India but in China as well.
Yes, and they have had those previous cases of suicides. In fact, that's why you are saying that they have had a bad track record. Is it also, in a sense, bringing to light that there's not enough inspection at industries in India, in Chennai as well?
Well, at the pace at which we are industrializing and at the pace at which the infrastructure for safety is being built is inadequate. Obviously, that's kind of given, but still whatever is there, it's not being enforced properly. In fact, just look at Foxconn, it's almost 24 hours. I mean, till now it's not really clear as to what has really gone wrong. I mean, I was just hearing what the director had to say and the industry management people have to say. It's shocking. Yes. Like, how can you have like pesticides flowing through your AC air ducts? I mean, that kind of shows the deplorable condition in which you know, the whole system is working there. And what you were referring to as suicides in China, it is, and the thing to note here is these are really young workers in China, in Shenzhen, another big special economic zone, where Foxconn is actually the biggest suppliers of iPhones to Apple, and it is supplied to Sony Ericsson, it's supplied to Nokia and Ericsson here in India too. And there, because of the working conditions, low wages, extreme hard, you know, overtime conditions, people like age group of 18 to 24, young boys are actually committing suicides there because they can't deal with the situation. And in fact, in June this year, you know, a very young engineer died in Foxconn in Shenzhen after he was made to work for 36 hours straight. I mean, that's the kind of company we are talking about.
But back in India, do you think is it because of the laws that are not stringent enough that they're really taking us for granted?
Laws are stringent. It's matter of enforcement. And in fact, I mean, 24 hours, you don't even hear a single statement from the factory inspectorate. Have they gone in? Are they doing the inspection? Maybe they are. Our law clearly says that within 24 hours of a leak or any kind of accidents like this, it has to be reported to the factory inspectorate. They have to go in and they have to kind of, you know, inspect the situation. In fact, in the afternoon when some people went to make inquiries, there was 3 versions of the stories. One is some gas leak, another was pest control, the other was that people were fasting due to Adi Masam. I mean, this is the story that the company is actually giving out to the people. I mean, it's like, you know, absolutely irresponsible behavior, and I think there has to be a very strict action, and it's not just here, all over the country, and Tamil Nadu especially, you know, which is so fast in its industrialization. You go to places like North Chennai, where half the factories are working without license, I mean without proper consent. You go to a place like Kadalur, where there are 31 factories, out of them 25 are working without consent, without any license. Now, who is to blame? You have the government to be blamed, you have the factories to be blamed, but end of it, who is actually suffering? The workers and the communities living around.
Flouting many norms right under the nose of the government. You being a part of such a movement, what would you want, you know, as part of action to be done so that we don't see anything as serious as a Bhopal gas tragedy or even something like this repeat itself?
Well, I mean, we definitely need to overhaul the system. I mean, we have a system, but it is the infrastructure that it needs to kind of match up to the kind of industrialization that is happening, and you know, that needs to be really reworked. But the more important thing is we really have to make sure that polluter pays principle, which is enshrined in our law, is enforced. We have to make all these companies accountable. For instance, for causing an accident like this, Foxconn management should be tried. You know, have they ever been criminally tried? If they were working like this in US and other countries, they would have been criminally tried. But no, here nothing happens. Even 26 years after I mean, the perpetrators of the Bhopal gas tragedy have hardly been tried, and the Indian, culprits have been just let off. So
obviously
we have
for
to
our
build
system,
that.
our judiciary itself to sit up and act and look no further, but act as soon as they can. Clearly, this in our own backyard happening is an awakening for all of us to look no further. Thanks very much indeed, Ms. Madhupita, for joining us this evening for this discussion. Thank you. Well, talking about labour, if you've thought that the idea of bonded labour is an evil of the past, that's definitely not the case in our very own state. In a little village of Tiruvallur, the villagers would beg to disagree. A total of 7 families were rescued from bonded labour yesterday, all thanks to field workers of an NGO who alerted the authorities in good time.
Debt often pulls a common villager to the depths of bondage. 7 families of Ottikada village would know. They were bound in a year-long agreement of bondage to a brick factory owner who lent them just a few thousands of rupees, and in exchange, they were enslaved to cruel and hard labor. Their salvation came in the form of an NGO who reported the enslavement to the government officials. They were delivered from bondage, rehabilitated and sent home.
Initial rehabilitation 1,000 rupees.
These villagers were saved in what could be called a stroke of luck. But the fact is, even in this age of swift development, the evil of bonded labor looms heavily over rural India. With Kulashekaran in Tiruvallur and Christy Abraham in Chennai, this is Pratiksha for NDTV Hindu.
Now, in about a week's time, the deadline to declare your income tax details will run out. But not to worry, in order to help a taxpayer like you and I overcome the usual last-minute pressure, the IT department has now decided to operate additional counters. And this facility opens during the last week of July.
Last-minute rush to file income tax returns is a regular scene at the tax office. To ease the pressure, the IT department has decided to operate 40 additional counters at its main facility in Nungambakam.
That is from July 28th to 31st, we'll be having special counters. We will be having about 40 special counters and 20 help desks for people to come and all their simple queries will be discussed there. And we'll also have special counters for physically challenged and senior citizens. Tax return payers service. This is where if you have any doubt or you want someone else to prepare your return for you, this is a paid service and you have that service available here.
Over 2.5 lakh people have filed returns from Tamil Nadu so far, among them 1.5 lakh from Chennai. It's not just individuals who come to pay their taxes. Corporate heavyweights too are filing their returns. Indian Overseas Bank tops the list. Automobile maker Hyundai, Sun TV and Cognizant are some of the other major taxpayers. Last year, as many as 4.5 lakh income tax returns were filed across the state. Of the 4.5 lakh, 2.5 lakh returns were filed in the city alone. The IT department is expecting a 4 to 6% increase in the number of filings this year. In Chennai, with Ashmit Kumar, Lokpriya, NDTV Hindu.
Well, certainly a welcome move there by the IT department. Now, it's a clash of the spirits on the streets of Arcot Road. In a clear violation of the law, a liquor store and a bar exists near a temple in Chennai's Saligramam area. A clear case of irony considering the fact that under state laws, liquor outlets are banned near places of worship. So that raises the question of whether the state is hypocritical with its laws. Here's a report.
This liquor bar on Arcot Road coexists with a temple amid a cluster of residential apartments. People in the middle-class neighborhood are helpless because the state-run liquor outlet violates the state's own laws.
கோயில் பக்கத்துல டாஸ்மா இருக்கிறதுனால மக்களுக்கும் கஷ்டமா இருக்கும் சாமி கும்பறவங்களுக்கும் கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டமா தான இருக்கும் அந்த ஸ்மெல்ல எத்தனை பசங்க எல்லாம் போறாங்க வராங்க குடிச்சிட்டு சில பேர் நிதானம் தெரியாம நடந்துக்கறாங்க படுக்கறாங்கல்ல பொம்பளைங்களுக்கு கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டமா தான் இருக்கும்.
Appeals by residents to move the bar away from the temple have not had any effect on authorities, and they seem to have given up.
Government should not be concerned about generating revenue alone at the cost of the public. Because we are seeing these TASMAC shops and bars which are very detrimental to the public in general. And in particular, we see that shops are spread all across.
There is a strong feeling of discomfort, especially among women and children, as drunken customers at the bar spill onto the road.
Tamil Nadu government's order says liquor shops should be at least 50 meters away from places of worship. Here is an obvious case of violation. Will the authorities take action? In Chennai, Peer Moma for NDTV Hindu.
Well, along with those troublemakers, it's time for road Romeos to beware. The next time they're found fooling outside women's colleges, chances are that they may end up at the receiving end of some karate chops. Our reporter Pratiksha joined the karate kids, or ladies rather, and learnt a chop or two.
Education empowers, but these techniques can make you powerful, literally. The first-year students of Stella Maris College discovered that learning a few combat techniques is indeed empowering.
But we do face something like chain snatching and purse snatching, like that in the bus and the road, when you walk on a road and everything. And the karate program which was held here is very useful for us and quite interesting too.
It's terrible. It's like you don't respect women, and this is a way for college students to stand up, like hitting them in the solar plexus or stamping their foot. It's very simple.
This is the result of a Chennai City Police initiative. The police commandos, the fittest men in the force, have been roped in to teach karate and self-defense techniques to interested students in all the women's colleges in the city. And this program would continue over the next few weeks.
Depending on the time slot the principal is able to provide to us, we are ready to give every day also. But depends on them, what are their educational curricula, so they have to merge with that. And so that the interested persons can come forward and we can train them. And similar exercise we are going to take all the ladies' colleges. This is part of project of Safe Chennai.
School principals welcomed this move, and the police said that complaints of eve teasing have become fewer. Looks like the very threat of girls being empowered is enough to bring down the crime figures. In Chennai, Pratiksha Ramkumar for NDTV Hindu.
Well, it should be an added advantage in terms of self-defense. Now, here's a quick look at all that's making news in Chennai today in a minute.
Customs officials say they've seized 20 kilograms of the banned drug ketamine from a traveller at the international airport in Chennai. It is said to be worth 2 crore rupees on the international market. The traveller was about to leave for Indonesia. About 500 opposition AIA-DMK members held a protest to condemn the price rise for fuel products. Led by leaders Ponniyan and Shekhar Babu, they also highlighted the negative effects of online trading. The Chennai Corporation says it registered 1,100 cases of malaria in the past 2 months in the city. It says there's also an increase in chikungunya and dengue cases. Chennai's main Coimbatore vegetable market will be shut on the last Friday of every month. The decision was reached in talks between the management and the traders, but the flower market there will operate as usual.
Well, still ahead on the bulletin, the menacing slinger from Sri Lanka is out of the second test. Could this spell relief for the men in blue? Also coming up, beating the heat in style, the Jumbos of Madurai get a pampered bath spa.